And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm just going to do some 6 quick reviews of sorts of games that I think you can skip and be okay. I'm not necessarily saying all of these are bad games. In fact, I don't know that any of them I would say is completely terrible, but I'm not going to keep any of them, and I didn't particularly enjoy them that much. So we'll start with maybe the funnest of these, and that is Popcorn Dice. This is from Van Ryder Games, and this is basically, they're selling a gimmick. It's just, hey, you get one of these little popcorn containers, you get some dice in it, you roll the dice, you re-roll dice, you decide when to stop. There is a gazillion games out there that do this exact thing. The only thing about this is you get a cheap plastic popcorn container. That's not enough to make me want to get it, so I don't know that I'm... Also, how am I supposed to store it? It's just the whole thing's kind of a pain in the neck. Then we have a little game, and I think you might have seen us play this. In fact, 3 of the games here you saw us play live here on the Dice Tower. This one's Insect Inc. Now, this one looks really cool. But what this game is there's a bunch of insect cards that are spread all over the table. They look like Rorschach ink blots, but they're colorful. And you'll turn over an insect card, and you need to find the 2 halves of it and put them together. They don't really look like insects, but you find them, you slap them, your hands on the table, you take those 2 cards, you then flip them over to a side where they're all green. They can no longer be used. So this game has very diminishing returns. At a certain point, you're going to flip cards over, and the stuff's not out there. But it is a visual, like if you're colorblind, you're going to despise this. If you're not colorblind, you're still probably not going to like it. It's just it's an amusing thing to maybe play 1 round of, and then that's about it. They're cool, colorful cards, I'll give them that, but the game itself is very, very meh. That's Insect Inc. Then we have Star Wars Talisman. Now, Talisman is, you love Talisman or you don't, right? I don't, but I was very curious about Talisman and Star Wars. I actually played this with my kids because they never really played Talisman. So I knew they weren't going to go into it with any preconceived notions. I didn't tell them anything. I'm like, hey, and I knew they could like Star Wars. But they didn't enjoy it. They said the game was incredibly random. And I agree. I actually think regular Talisman's better than this one. In this one, you can start as a good guy or a bad guy. And then when you go around, you're flipping cards over that will affect you or not affect you. But yeah, just like Talisman, it is completely random. It's also incredibly long. The miniatures are all busts of the different Star Wars characters, which is very similar to the Warhammer 40K version of this that came out of Exile, I think it was called. But there's definitely a group of people who are going to like this, but I'm not one of them. I also wonder, like the people who like Talisman, they went around and leveled up and stuff. Is that same group also like Star Wars? I don't know. The next one I want to give credit to, at least, for the effort. This is Noonami. This is a game where balancing nature and gaining influence, you win. And so this is an Arctic game. It's based on the Inuit culture and everything. All that's fine. But the fact of the matter is the components aren't very good. There's another one we played live. You can see it. They're really piece of paper, almost tiles. And this box cover, like if you saw this in a store, would you buy it? I don't think so, honestly. It looks really boring. And unfortunately, the gameplay kind of follows it out. It can be played 1 or 2 players, but you're essentially just flipping tiles over. It's a little bit of area control, but it's just not interesting, unfortunately. So that's Noonami. Then we have Otto. Now, when we played this one live, we also played this one live. This is a game where you're trying to connect and make shapes, and people said, some of you weren't very good at making shapes. It doesn't matter. Some people said you should have played it with 2. Well, I messed around with that. It doesn't matter. You're just drawing tiles. It has a really bad rule where you can draw a tile and it's blank, and then you have no choice now. You only draw 1 tile and play it. Really weird, terrible rule. But for the most part, there are many games that do this, where you connect different pathways, and they're all very good. This one looks really cool, but at the end of the day, it's just draw a tile, place it in the only place that makes any sense. And if you're playing multiplayer, don't set up the next player. Then I don't know. I just don't find this one fun at all. And then Kablab. Kablab, blurt it out before time runs out. It's a party game. Now, I like party games. In fact, This week on the Dice Tower episode that's posted, we're talking about our top 10 party games. I really like party games. This one has a ticking time bomb that you pass around. Okay, I like that idea. You roll dice, and the dice have blank sides and number sides. So if you roll any number sides, you'll have a topic that says cartoon characters, and it will say 2, name cartoon characters. Okay, Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote. Then any dice that have a number, I roll those dice again, and I just keep rolling till I have rolled blanks on everything, or there's a certain die side, and then you pass them to the next person. Okay, that's kind of funny, but there's 2 main problems with it. One, the game definitely is you can get lucky. You roll all blanks, you just pass your dice. So there's a bunch of luck involved with it. Fine, I guess. But also it could be like I keep rolling and rolling and rolling, and I just keep getting unlucky and rolling numbers, and I finally say it, and I roll all blanks, and then I slowly pass the dice to you, and the timer goes off right when you start going. That's just it doesn't work. I played this with my family. Everyone had fun, and then when it was over, everyone said, we don't want to play it again, and they didn't like the game. There was funniness. We all laughed at each other, and the categories are pretty simple, you know. Name things that fit in a box. Name things you find in the kitchen. Things like that. But that dice rolling mechanism and passing them was very unsatisfying to everybody. So Kablab, I think this one here is just so that you can get a bomb thing that you can pass around. But that's that. So these are 6 games that I think you can easily skip. Hey, some of you might disagree with me, and that's great. Let people know in the comments why they should check these games out. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time.